Ready?
Rolling. Rolling. In these videos, the arm that swings bashes the material, breaking it in half. The higher the arm stops on the other side, the less effort it took to break the material. With this test, we can look at the different ways that different metals can break, compare them to each other, and even compare them to how a non-metal material would break. Some metals stretch before they break, some metals hardly change shape at all, and what's even cooler is that the same metal can change the way it breaks depending on how hot or how cold it is. Most metals have quite high melting points. Did you know that mercury is the only metal that is a liquid at room temperature?
You may have heard of the term alloy, and this is where a metal is mixed with another metal, or the metal is mixed with a non-metal. Stainless steel is a very popular alloy, and it's really what our cutlery is going to be made out of that we eat our dinner with. Now, stainless steel is made out of iron mixed with many other different types of metals and non-metals. The two most famous ones the iron is mixed with is carbon and chromium. Chromium stops the stainless steel from going rusty, and I definitely think we wouldn't want to be eating our dinner with rusty cutlery.
This video shows a shape being 3D printed, which means it is made by laying thin 2D layers on top of one another. In this method, a powder is spread over the plate. Then, a laser, which is shown by the bright light, traces over the plate in the shape that is going to be printed. The laser is incredibly powerful, so it melts the powder that it passes over. At the end of the printing, all the unmelted powder is brushed away, leaving a 3D structure only made out of the melted powder. This video is using the same method as the one before. The only difference is that a different shape is being printed. Rather than a star, this video is printing a honeycomb plate.
Sodium, potassium and cesium are all alkali metals, and they are so reactive that even if you were to put the tiniest amount of one into a bit of water, they would explode, and especially with cesium, it would be a massive explosion.
Waterjet cutters are used to cut all sorts of materials, including wood and metal. The material is blasted with a strong, fast jet of water and sand-like particles, which can even cut through steels up to 10 centimeters thick. We draw the pattern that we need to cut on a computer program, and this file is then given to the waterjet cutter. The cutter then follows the pattern automatically. At Southampton, we even have a special cutter which allows us to cut material at an angle. My metal fact is about a special type of metal called Nitinol. It is made from nickel and titanium and is what we call a shape memory alloy. This means that if we had a nitinol wire and bend it into a different shape, we just need to heat it up a little bit and it will change back into that original shape that it remembered, all on its own.
Did you know that tinfoil is made out of aluminium, which is very malleable? And this means that it can be made and moved into different types of shapes without actually breaking.
how high are the supports?
And today I will talk to you about direct metal laser sintering, or DLSM for short. So this is an additive manufacturing method, which means that it adds material and bonds it together in order to make a part according to your design. So the alternative to additive manufacturing is subtractive manufacturing, which is basically where you start out with a block of metal, for example, and you use drills and other tools to carve your shape out of it. So this subtractive manufacturing method is quite widely used. But it's not great since it wastes all of the material that you have to carve away from the block. And as you can see in the accompanying video, direct metal laser sintering works by distributing a thin layer of metal powder on the print bed. The powder can be aluminium, titanium, copper. You can even use direct metal laser sintering for gold, silver, and platinum. And once this metal powder has been spread across the print bed, a very fast and powerful laser, which you can see in the video as well, shines on it and melts the material in a certain shape according to your design. Then this process gets repeated layer by layer until the product is finished. So basically the metal powder gets spread, and then the laser comes and shines on it and melts a 2D slice of the part that you've designed. And this process gets repeated, so all of the 2D layers then add up together to make a 3D part. So yeah, all of the unused powder as well in the case of this method gets recycled and used for the next part, so it's much more eco-friendly than the subtractive manufacturing method I talked about earlier. Just to give you a few ideas of how it's used in industry, it's very common to use DLSM in aerospace and motorsport. So in Formula 1, for example, you would use this to make lightweight and strong mounts, typically from titanium since it's very light and strong, and these mounts could be found in the chassis, and then you also make other parts that can be found in suspension, for example. I also have some examples to show you from a fellow student at the university. So they've worked on jet engines. So this one here is a turbojet combustion chamber. So basically it's where the air and fuel mixture get burned up in an engine, jet engine. Then I have some examples of nozzles here. So for jet engines, so nozzles are located directly behind the combustion chamber usually. This one here is just a basic converging nozzle, and this one here is a bit cooler. It's a supersonic ramjet converging diverging nozzle, and this one has been used and run in the jet engine before. So you can see it's quite nice to compare. So this one has never been used and this one has, and you can just see the difference in color between them due to the heat and the residues from the jet engine. I have a few more examples. So these here are some jet engine turbines. Again, you can see the difference in color. So this one has never been used in the jet engine and this one has, and it's almost turned black with the residue. And these are, again, a very good example to show you. You can see if I hold it up close to the camera. It's a very small but very detailed part. So direct metal laser sintering as well. From this you can see that it's very precise and you can make very strong, very small parts from it. So yeah, in terms of material, all of the parts that I've just shown you, they were made from steel. The reason for that was because it's less expensive than titanium, even though it's a lot heavier, but they were only used as test pieces, so weight wasn't really a concern. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you learned something new about additive manufacturing. Thank you.